Hello, my name is Eliza Bleu. I'm going to talk about a couple things. Most importantly, and I think I'm going to stop doing the audio thing completely, just do videos. It's kind of simple, kind of weird. This day and age, doing a radio type thing, it's kind of silly. Anyway, the first important thing is APEC. Lots of people talk about World Economic Forum and stuff like that, and even I've been kind of neglecting this whole problem. APEC is being ignored highly, and I think probably should be called out as a problem. This is a video from Vancouver in the APEC protest. Be important to view. And there we go. This is something you won't see with World Economic Forum events, because it's really just a forum where they discuss things. Possibly, some of them even just seem like warnings. Now it's pretty culty, I'll give it that, but it's not nearly as fleshed out and set up as APEC. And APEC is strictly Asian industry. It's Asian Pacific Economic, let's just say consortium. It has a complete interest in making China the financial powerhouse. Addison. Poor dog made do some of their evil work. It's Vancouver in 1997. And being so, Vancouver's not really a federal town. It doesn't tend to have RCMP agents, but this is one time where they were willing to bring RCMP people in to rein people in as well, which is a horrible, horrible precedent. A lot of people involved with the APEC protests were disappeared. The others were originally with Black Bloc. I guess helping with CSIS get certain people who were unreliable to them disappeared. Where's my fluff ball? My microphone lost its fluff ball. Slogans are so great. Not a lot of professional protesters. Yep. Went beyond that. Well, it's so what happened in Vancouver. A lot of people went down very hard to fight for this, and well, people are going to fret over great resets and slogan-esque, well, let's say beliefs that somehow we'll go to an insect-eating economy. The real cause, rather than the analyzers of the WEF, is APEC. Yeah. One guy had inside information and talked about COVID-19, Great Recess, but APEC has been the one, or the ones putting this forward. Putting this stuff forward. That's, and ignoring it will not benefit anybody. And that's what I'm going to stick to right now as far as that goes, and leave that with you. I will try to keep that and put that into the description. Now, black faculty. That's going to be an ironic thing. This is anniversary of was 1997 APEC riot. I don't know why he calls it a riot. It's a protest. Not even mostly peaceful, by my reckoning. Now, here's another organization. This applies to something that I've been talking about online a lot lately, wasting time, and some people becoming less entertaining doing so. This is OISE, OISE, Ontario Institute for Studies in Education. What's insidious here is that this has something to do with my history, and it kind of annoys me a little bit to have to do this because a lot of these people know a lot more about it. Some of them were even there on YouTube and so on like that. We even have an ability to show better information. Now, for some background, I'm going to mention the issue of race, not the race black and white, but although Sumerians were the original blacks, I guess we would call it. The Sumerian, because this has something to do with age, and age is a thing to consider in this situation. It's not everyone ages the same way. You might notice that. They try to hide it, but I'm sure a lot of people notice that some people don't look their age, and they seem a bit young, or stay a bit young. And, well, as a result, with Sumerians, which encompasses Magyars, founding people of Hungary, the original Welsh and Scotch-Irish, the Macau, the Aztecs, which is like the Cherokee and the Paiutes, the Ainu, which are like the Iroquois and things like that, and also the Macau area in Korea. Macaurians, I guess. Now, we have Babylonians. Now, the Sumerians are people kind of only die if they're self-destructive, in the sense that they're morally weak, or suicidal, which tends to be the same thing. With regards to Babylonians, they lived about 800 years. And Canaanites, until someone deals with their throat weaknesses. They got even sore throats affect them badly. Now, Carthaginians live about 400, I think this, or maybe it's 3. But This is at least an origin level. I myself am Sumerian and Magyar, and I have some Babylonian and Canaanite in my background, so that even has something to do with it. But no one in my family ever died easy. I'll just put that away. Or at all, really. Well, I'm still around, and I'm probably the oldest. Even though I'm pretty sure I'm the youngest. Depends on what I'm going to believe here. Then it goes to OISE. OISE is a front. OISE is a CIA front with NSA behavioralists. It studies children with certain special abilities, special skills, even. And what the bothered by someone bothering a girl of mine. If you saw the video before, you know what I'm talking about. And that was painful. Regard to the Ontario Institute of Secondary OISE, we have it goes to something similar. I'll also point this out, the focus on Eliza Bleu has a lot to do with smothering the responses to the State of the Union address. And a lot of these people should be ashamed of themselves, especially Venti, who's just decided to become unfunny all of a sudden, just to just have an internet catfight. Tim Pool's the only one who's right about it, and he's only missed the point that somehow this happened and coincided with the Syria up to the point where the State of the Union address became an issue. Well, you can watch the government grow as Biden talks, but no, the internet just decides to talk about Blue. Why is Blue an effect here? Well, Blue is called a preferential. And Blue is someone who worked at OISE. She was more involved in the trafficking than defending traffickers, or defending the trafficked. Technically speaking, you can even call me that. After I was stabbed in the back of the neck, forced to reconstitute, or well, what's it what I call it? It's like a Sumerian version of instead of decomposing, recompose, I guess. Sort of shedding a skin, which is kind of literally shedding a skin. Cultian turned my past skin into like a lizard. He kind of turned one of mine into a Zentai in a cult, which is rather disturbing. An old one. One had a bit of a darker skin. Now, what happened is I got dragged to this OISE Institute. For all intents and purposes, I ended up regressing to a child. I'm getting brain chemistry with a child and everything else. Essentially, I had to do that a few times. And the last time turned out to be, well, a blonde boy, and eventually, again, to this dark-haired fellow. It seems strange, but you might actually have heard some of this before. You might have actually seen something of this before. You might even notice some Hungarians who kind of look a little different now than you've known them all your life. Or even Welshmen. It's just worth thinking about. Or Bulgarians, that's where the Kurgan types usually go, like up the river, stuff like that. Now, kind of like traveling more of like a gypsy type Sumerian. But anyway, now this is what caused most of my targeting. In OISE, this is where my file manager, if you've ever seen something like this is going to put its file manager on it now, I'm guessing. And they made a bunch of them after my own was taken from me. And it has access to a lot of my intellectual property. And also information to other property, which apparently I could have access and could make use of. Basically, my life was taken away from me for this institution. And I'm struggling to remember a lot of this. This is coming back to me a while after there was a targeting pushback a few times. And certain things were checking out. Now, before I was released in the... Now, the thing about preferentials is that they do cause us... They tend to stick rather loyally to a child victim. And that's where I have had a few of them. And that's where it comes in. Now, maybe it's because I was an adult that turned into a child, although technically they felt it was somehow okay. And so the thing, but this is very close to me, and I wish someone else could have done this. Because, let's face it, one of them did father my child. And that's the thing. And left me out of the process of raising a child, kept sons that couldn't ever even explain me, much less know me. Because this person also was in the business of making sure they cultivated more sperm for me during urological surgeries and stuff like that. As people might know, I have hypospadias. That requires a lot of surgeries in places where they can easily access things with a needle. It seems very strange. It seems very strange to me, and I don't even like talking about it. But what is understood here is Eliza is one of these people, one of these preferentials. Plausibly, one of the ones that raised the child. I hate to be too definite about it, because as it is, I'm struggling to remember these things, and struggling to understand these things. And I'm learning about it, and they check out to me. Other people will have to come to their own conclusion. Nonetheless, the fact is, her CIA involvement, her CIA existence, is known to some of these people who have been squawking on and on about this petty bullshit online, about Venti accusing her of being a trafficked woman just because she shows a little flesh, to everyone misunderstanding what Venti said, and everything else up to the State of the Union address. And other important issues that are likely being ignored because they decide to go on an internet catfight. This includes a whole Simcast spy bunny ring. And when I call spy bunny, that is exactly what CIA and NSA call, even MI call their females, spy bunnies. Some of them are even associated with anti-sociopaths, as I mentioned before and in the previous video, and are used to target them. That is one of their purposes. The other are to be honeypots. Now, Venti herself is a honeypot associated with a conservative cult to a group linked to the TPUSA. Now, this is what my understanding is, and this understanding does check out, to me anyway. You can come to your own conclusions. You can look into it. You can even look into how she's acted over the years and consider it. And consider the fact that she's also running protection over over things like the State of the Union address. She's also ignored. None of these people are talking about the deep state anymore. I guess maybe it's too close to home. In fact, none of them really did talk about the deep state. They did kiss up to the MAGA people who were concerned about the deep state, but they'd never, ever really dug into that. Gee, who knows why that would be? Would it cause them to glow a little bit? Likely. And that's the big problem. Now, some of these girls and some of these people come from Scientology, Transcendental Meditation, and even some of the other cults that have been formed. Basically, these cults were designed as ways to a myriad series of ways to prove how socialism or communism can fail no matter how many times you apply it differently, slightly differently each time. And there's going to even be Kundalini, neuroleptic programming, Church of Satan, Temple of Satan, whatever. You might even notice, if you've ever played the game BioShock, that there are kind of satirical references to all these. And I shouldn't also remember butterfly kisses, of course. And we're a lesbian version of the child abuser rings. I say lesbian because that'd be assuming consent, but it's female on female abuse. I mentioned the butterfly kisses because somehow they manage to always wipe out references to themselves in search engines and everything. Makes them a pretty insidious and probably the most sneaky group. And some girls also run roughshod for their protection. And that's all I will say about this right now. I would recommend you ask all the tubers about this. No one specific, but it's important. Have a good night. Morning, evening, or whatever.